Okay, so in my last video I did the disk method, and I did it around an axis and it was around the x-axis, so you can get the idea of how to do the disk method with a horizontal line like y equals 0. So I decided to give you a short video on how to do one when it's around a vertical line like x equals. Not even x equals 0, we did an axis, but let's say x equals 1, like this one here. Okay, so we're finding the volume of a solid generated by revolving a region. It indicates it's a triangular region, and it's bounded by these lines. Okay, and we're revolving it about the line x equals 1. So here we go. We're going to first draw our axes and start to label our axes. Since we need y equals 0, x equals 1, and the line y equals 2x, we can go about 2 on each side here. I think that would be fine. We'll work with that somehow. And let's proceed. So y equals 0 is the x-axis. And x equals 1 is right here. Now y equals 2x, well, you're going to start at the origin. You can go up to over 1. Or down 2 into the left 1. So we end up with this straight line here. So it was a triangular region. And it's right here. I'm going to try shading that in. There we go. So now if we revolve it about the line x equals 1, so we flip it over x equals 1, at least so we can see it two-dimensionally, it would be over here. So you can probably see now it definitely is a disk because there's no hole. But now we have to actually figure out what the radius is. And so our radius is going to be in terms of y, because much like the y-axis is an x equals number, x equals 1, okay, is what we're revolving it around. So we need our y. And so if we do right minus left, okay, look at the region that you shaded in. The right is actually when x is equal to 1. Okay, so that's what we're plugging in for right. And the left, it depends on, well, where, because I could draw my radius in here depending on where I drew my disk. Or maybe I drew my disk up here, this would be the radius. Okay, or really down here, this would be the radius. So it depends on what this is. This is not an x equal equation. So be careful what you put here. Okay, we don't want an x equation. So I crossed it out. Let's figure this out. So if we solve for x, then this equation would be x equals y over 2. So we need that over here. So now that we figured out what r of y is, we can use that into our equation, and we can find what volume is. So we're going to say v sub y is pi times our integral. And remember, these have to be y values. We'll go back to that in a second. R pi r squared with respect to y. So I don't know where that 0 came from. I got too excited there. I just wrote a random number. So let's go to our region over here. So it starts when y is equal to 0, and it goes to tippy top when y is equal to 2. So this has to be 0, and that has to be a 2. So make sure that you have the correct y values that you're plugging in. Otherwise, well, it's going to end up being incorrect. So let's find our volume. So we're going to use v sub y is equal to pi times the integral of 1 minus y plus y squared over 4, because we have to square our binomial. And this is going to be with respect to y, from y is 0 to y is 2. And next step, I'm really squeezing this in. So it's going to be pi times y, y minus y squared over 2 plus y cubed over 12. And we're going to plug in 2 and 0. So when we plug in 2 and 0, I plug in 2 and start to calculate that. So that's 2 minus 2 is still 0. So it's just 2 cubed over 12. Even if I start subtracting this, 0 gets plugged into each term here, and that becomes 0 anyway. So this is going to be 8 over 12, and 4 can go into each. So it's going to be 2 pi over 3. And that is going to be our volume here. All right, so just be careful and good luck on some more disc problems.